Hey YouTube, this is Hell Phoenix 24 from Xbox 360s, posting a new video. This video is strictly for newbies, those who want to learn how to play Yu-Gi-Oh! As most people forget because they always go for all the new cards and they don't learn the basics first. If you're a true Yu-Gi-Oh! Player, you know I have a valid point. Alright, I used to do this all the time when people I taught how to play because I would build a deck out of random. Most of my friends, I built a deck out of random and I beat them because they couldn't figure out my strategy because my deck never had a strategy. It never had an effect monster. They were all normal monsters to help people show that even a noob deck can overwhelm a powerful deck if you play the cards properly. Now, I'm going to show you in great detail of this how to build a deck for newbies. Again, this video is strictly for those that want to learn the basics first. If you don't like my methods of how I build my deck, well, stop watching, okay? Plain simple, just stop watching. This is strictly for those who wish to learn the basics from an elite ranked duelist. I clarify myself as a link because a judge, one of the high level judges, watched my duel one time, and as people know, I am famous for my Blue Eyes White Dragon decks or my Crystal Beast decks. I've earned the name Seto Kaiba. But basically, the way my duel style, at times my friends will vouch for, is unorthodox. Sometimes my decks have a rhythm, sometimes they're complete random and they catch people off guard because they're expecting this or that. Decks with rhythms, you can predict what they'll do. Decks without a rhythm or an archetype can be predicted if you know the archetype they're using. Now, to get to the deck building. Now, I used to do this when I lived in South Bend over a year and a half ago, I believe. I would train my friends, teach them how to play Yu-Gi-Oh! And I would not use any of my actual duel decks because I was way too powerful for them. Few of my cards would just overwhelm their decks. So I built a random deck. Now, we're going to show in great detail how to do this without using the all-powerful monster effects, synchros, exceeds, whatnot. We're going to start with strict basic, normal monsters. Now, as I said, this unorthodox way of learning how to play the game is actually a authentic way to learn the basics. First, you got to know your cards. The first type of cards you should learn are the normal type monsters. Their levels, their attacks, their defenses, their types, and their attributes. This is a must because even an effect deck that has all great power has succumbed to a normal monster deck. I have done it myself. I'm going to sort out my cards between normal, effect, ritual, fusion, synchro, exceed, so on, so on. Actually, that was the whole list, but still. The first deck you want to try to build, because most people build all normal deck like Duelist Kingdom on the original Yu series. No. You want to build a deck with monsters that are complete normal based. Until you can master them, you have no authentic right to use any other cards because it could mess up your dueling style. Learning the basics is a must. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is very simple and yet at the same time complicated if you do not go back to basics. A lot of duelists I've met, I talked to on forums, they disappoint me. They claim to be true duelists because they have all this knowledge, but they forget the number one rule. Basic. Basics can go back all the way to when Yu-Gi-Oh! First came out. I've played this game since before it hit USA. How and why? I would ask Lester. I got in trouble a lot. But how? How could I get cards when I wasn't able to have the money to get the cards, right? Simple. I took a ghetto playing deck, a normal playing deck, like Ace of Spades, and I would write on the card and play Yu-Gi-Oh! That way, based on what I knew from the cartoon. That's how I learned the basics, because I learned that way that the dueling system is more complicated than I thought it would be. Because I always kept trying to go through all the really great cards, trying to keep up with everybody else, and after I saw all that, I realized I was trying to follow other people so I can impress people. No. So I invented my own way of dueling. I saw the cards that I liked, that I wanted to use, not what someone suggests I use. I took people's suggestions, yes, but I would not change my dueling style for someone else. This dueling style that I will show once I get this first stack sorted is completely and utterly of my own design. I'm pretty sure a lot of other people have done it too, they just won't admit it. So in other words, I'm not the first to try this theory. To learn how Yu-Gi-Oh is played, to learn all the basics, the rules, you got to know card for card of Yu-Gi-Oh itself. The first should be the normal monsters. Henceforth, the basic monsters, the old monsters, the originals. Not these all new monsters that have like the heretic dragon that has 0 attack, 0 defense, but it's like over 8 stars, you know? This way is how I learned how to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Because I was very precise on how I wanted things to be done for myself. I learned Yu-Gi-Oh! This way, and I will show you. Just let me sort these. Okay, I don't have a lot out here yet, but some of the normal monsters I have here, I have 5 normal monsters, okay? Let's see, I have a level 3 and 3 level 4s and a level 5. Now, I'm going to show you each monster. So all the cards that I'm about to show you date back to Yu-Gi-Oh! And Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. Actually, only one of the monsters is from GX, but I'm pretty sure you get the idea, what the gist of what I'm trying to tell you, okay? A normal deck must consist of low-leveled monsters, as well as low-level attacks, as well as high-level attacks and levels. This method has actually been proven to throw people off their game. I know because my friends will vouch for that. I've thrown people off their game because I surprise them with a monster either they've never seen before, or it's a monster they've never seen in a long, long time. Like, where's my brothers? My little brother, he started playing Yu-Gi-Oh! A long time ago, but he's not really been into it because he's got a lot on his plate right now. And this is one of his cards. This is Hayabasa Knight. It can attack twice during each battle phase, and it only has 1,000 attack points. It's an effect monster. Now, the first normal monster I would use in a complete normal deck. No effect monsters, normal spells, normal traps, yeah? Elemental Hero Avian, because he has 1,000 attack points. Plus, he's a wind attribute, and he's a warrior. He's also level 3. Now, I would throw people off my game more because I would play the Fire Kraken. He's a Fire Aqua, and he's a level 4 with 1,600 attack points and 1,500 defense points. Now, this card actually has a very good history because a lot of people misunderstand this card. For those of you who know what Yumi does, it's a field spell that turns the whole battlefield into water. So aqua monsters gain power, but fire monsters gain less power. They're decreased. However, he is unaffected by both because he gains the power boost of Yumi, but then he also gets the decretion of power boost, so he stays at 1615. Why? Because he's an attribute of fire, but he's an aqua monster. So his attack and defense would stay normal. Quite odd, isn't it? But it's actually a surprise attack if you play that strategy. Another card you could use, because most people, if you play Avian first, they assume you have an Elemental Hero deck. That's one way to throw them off their game. Another is XYZ. He's a Earth, level 4, machine with 1,800 attack and 200 defense, right? No, 1,500 defense. My bad. I misread. When they're backward, it's kind of hard. Now, as you can see, I've played 3 monsters so far. Another monster that's good because it has good strong attack and everything is another wind monster. Level 4, Luster Dragon, 1,900 attack with 1,600 defense points, and he's a dragon type. The last one is a level 5 monster. Now, if you're going to learn the basics, you must learn the level systems. Normal summonings consist of tribute summonings, as well as normal summoning a level 3 or 4. 1 through 4 is a normal summon. No tributes required. A tribute summon is also classified as a normal summons, whether you set it face down or you summon it in attack mode. You can only summon a monster face down if you want to set it. It is called a set summon. To do so, if it's a level 5 or higher, you tribute the monsters you want to give up, then you set it face down. This is considered a tribute set summon. Doing this means you've done your normal summon for the turn. You can do consecutive special summons as much as you want. However, you can only normal summon once per turn without the effect of another card. In this case, double summon, a spell card that lets you normal summon another monster during this turn. The 5th monster I want to tell you that's a level 5 is the Earth is, everyone should know this, Rude Kaiser. Kaiba used this monster if I remember correctly, and so did Joey Wheeler. He's a beast warrior, 1800 attack, 1600 defense points. These are just 5 monsters I would pick for a normal styled playing deck. Remember, the first 3 cards you must learn in a deck are normal monsters, spells, and traps. Then you gradually build yourself up to effect monsters, build more combos and understandings with those, and then once you've completed those, then you bring in your ritual monsters and your fusions. Ritual monsters, people, when the game first came out, people misunderstood. They thought they went into the fusion deck, or as it's now called, the extra deck. Fusion monsters go in the deck, your main deck. And you can only play the ritual spell card that is needed to summon these ritual monsters if they are in your hand. If the ritual spell card is in your hand, but the ritual monster is not, you cannot play that card, because you would be wasting more than one card and it would not be affected because the monster is no longer in your hand. Okay. You see. Oh, and for those of you who think I have no idea what I'm talking about, I probably will find a few of you on here that will say that. I'm 29 years old. I've played this game since day one. My methods, as you may see, are weird, unorthodox, or not how you learned how to play. Everyone learns the game differently, but there's one fact that everyone learns the same way. The game teaches reading, math, teamwork, and sportsmanship. Unless you're a loner and you always like to be greedy and do things your way, then, well, good job. Good job being a beep. Anyway, now, the deck I'm about to build is going to be completely of 20 normal monsters. No rituals, no fusions, no effect monsters. No synchros or exceeds. Because I have done this many times and I've beaten several decks this way. It surprised a lot of people. It blew their mind how I beat them. And see, one of the decks I beat was, let's see if I can remember. It's been quite a long time since I beat. I think it was before Exceeds came out, when synchros were very popular, mainly the Stardust Dragons. Because one of the cards I remember now. It's a little vague, but I can't remember which friend it was, but he was obsessed with the Stardust Dragon. He had every type of fusion, and I put a deck together because I was teaching kids, and I decided to use a deck to test its full-out strength so the kids would watch. And they watched and saw me beat a deck that was built to summon every kind of Stardust Dragon card. I beat this deck because I caught my opponent off guard. First, he thought I was using one type of archetype, then he thought I had a mix of both. But I kept playing normal monsters and playing normal spells and traps. Normal spells and traps can be continuous spell cards, like Mirror Force, Swords of Revealing Light, cards that were based back in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX and Yu-Gi-Oh! The original. I didn't use any card that was not. And one of the oldest cards I used to beat his magnificent Stardust Dragon card was funny as hell. Okay, pardon my language. Everyone knows the effect of Stardust Dragon. Tribute this card to negate the effect of a card that would destroy a card or cards on the field and send it to graveyard, correct? However, there's a way around his ability, but allowing his ability, let's see, if Stardust would activate its ability, okay? No, wait, if you played a card to destroy a card or cards on my field, I play this particular trap card which reverts the destruction effect to a card on your field. Stardust cannot activate his special ability. Why? Because my card is not the card that's destroying. He would have to negate his own card to do so. This card was Remote Revenge. A lot of people thought I was lying about this when they read the card. See, Stardust effect only can trigger the card that initiated the destruction. It cannot initiate a third card that is just taking its ability and transferring it power to destroy something to another card. Remote Revenge is a good card that deals with a lot of monsters that do this type of abilities. Monsters, spells, or traps. This Remote Revenge card, no one seems to use. I use it, and it is a card that is unexpected in any combat battle. Hey look, a whole pile of normal monsters. Let's see, we got some seeds here. A lot of effect monsters. Yeah, I got a giant pile of effect monsters, alright? Fusion, more effects. I will demonstrate different type of cards that's good in any type of deck, like Remote Revenge, as I've said. But we also have those very unhearted duelists. What I mean by unhearted duelist is a long time ago when I was in Fort Wayne, I played at a little card shop tournament, and this kid had a deck that was well over 60 cards. And he had 2 Slifer the Sky Dragons, and I wanted to battle him for one of them. When the 3 Egyptian gods didn't have their ability, they were just for show, basically. And he agreed to duel with me. Alright? We set our duel that if I lost, he would get 6 cards of his choosing. But if I won, I gained 1 of his Slifers. His parents even agreed because it was a fair trade. So we dueled. And I can't remember the deck I had back then. I know I tried, with the very little bit of cards that I had, I tried to build a really good deck back then. This is way before Synchros were ever thought of, before the Ultimate Dragon came out. I had the Japanese version of the Ultimate. And I ended up beating him, but he was such a sore loser that under the table he took the back of the Slifer the Sky Dragon and rubbed it on the metal, which damaged the card severely. After I saw the card's destruction, I brought it to his attention and I took his other Slifer, letting him have it, the destroyed Slifer. He was very mad about this, but his parents made him keep his promise. I'm a man of my word. If you want to play me for cards, you play me fair and square. You cheat and you lose your end of the bargain. Now, let's see. I think I should have enough normal monsters here to partially build my 20 monster collection. These are all effect monsters. Let's go through one more pile while I think of another card to explain. Oh, here's a good one. See if my memory serves its effect right. Yeah, here we go. We'll go with... Yep, there it is. There's another card that actually I've not seen anybody use this card. I'll tell you its effect, but I will not tell you the name just yet. When your opponent uses a magic, trap, or effect monster's card to destroy your trap cards, this card can be destroyed as a substitute for your trap cards. This means one trap card or more. So let's say you used MST, Dust Tornado, and MST to destroy 3 of my cards. Now, I can play this card and it would make you destroy that card instead of all of them because it says 1 or more trap cards on my field. The name of this card is, ta-da, Fake Trap. This card is very useful in duels with people who love to destroy spell and trap cards. Why? Well, think about it for a minute. A lot of people love ground control, field control, trying to make you do what they want you to do. I've seen decks where they basically, you're their puppet. You do what they tell you to do in a duel. Some decks are very hard to counter. I know, I'll be honest with that. I've lost several times over the years. But as anyone will tell you, you learn more from a loss than you do from a win. Now, here's a small stack of normal monsters. I'm going to build a 20 monster card deck out of these. And I will begin. Let's see, I'll use him. Her. Yeah, he'll do. Yes. Her. Go with her just for kicks and giggles. I'll use cards that are so old and so very weak that people misunderstand them. Now remember, this deck is only to train newbie duelists, not to be devastating like most people do. I've seen people try to teach people how to play this game with their own deck, and it devastates them. I've seen people give up on Yu-Gi-Oh! Because they could never beat their opponent, because their opponent was not trying to help them, they were trying to destroy them. I got mad about this, so one of my favorite things to do is to teach people the game. But first, I love teaching the basics. Can't play a game if you don't know the basics properly. Alright. I believe I got more than 20 monsters here, but I can lessen that out. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28 monsters. To lessen this deck, I gotta get rid of 8 monsters. Well, 1 is out, so I need to get rid of 7 more. I'm going to try to keep this where there's 1 of each monster. There will be no duplicates of a monster in this deck. I think I found 1 of my duplicates. Yes. We'll use the alternate artwork. Okay, get rid of you. See, I like to throw people off when I build a deck to help their younger siblings or their younger friends. It is actually one of my hobbies to teach people to play the game from basic. Yes, it's a slow process. Yes, it takes up time. But you know what? You can never skip the basics. 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 19, 20, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. I still got to get rid of 6 more. So we will throw out. We'll throw out that one. That one. You. Well, that's 4 more gone. A good balanced deck can surprise an opponent if you do it properly. However, there are drawbacks to building decks like this because you could deal with, as some people like, they love their new Exodia decks that's out there. Basically a 1 to 2 turn win, guaranteed. So you want to try to counteract stuff like that. 2, 4, 5. 6. There. I have my 20 monster cards. Okay. Just make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Better recount that. I don't count right. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. Yeah, okay. Bring back one of the cards that I dissed out. Let's bring her in just for kicks and giggles. Literally. What I mean is the one card I'm adding to this normal monster-based deck is, before they reprinted it, for obvious reasons you're about to see, is one of the original creations of Harpy Girl. She has exactly 500 attack, 500 defense. She's a wind attribute level 2 winged beast. Yes, I put a really weak monster in here, but you know what? A weak monster can change a duel in a heartbeat. How do I know? Because I used one of the weakest ones out there that a lot of people don't use. Normal Karibo. I use him because of two facts. One, he's cool. And two, it's his ability that most people ignore. Discard this, one attack that goes through to hit me directly or whatnot, or any damage I take is 0. Now, the next strategy to building a basic training deck is the spell cards. You gotta learn your spell cards. You can't just go with all high and mighty spell cards expecting to win with just your spells. A balanced training deck, keyword there, training deck, is the key to understanding the basics of a game. Doing so is you must find an opponent, whether he is of higher skill than you, or he's still in training. Either help him build a training deck to go against you, or challenge him with the training deck you have built. Building this deck will give you good insight on how decks are built, how you can maneuver your deck to play the way you choose. Doing this properly can actually increase the deck you have without wanting to trash it for all better cards. Some people I've met have actually done this theory. They start with a deck with complete normal monsters, they battle several times until they've learned their monsters, and then they slowly upgrade their deck, taking out certain cards for other cards, but they don't actually necessarily get rid of their main monster collection. I've done this several times myself. It is, as I said several times, it is a good way to learn the basics of Yu-Gi-Oh! Because Yu-Gi-Oh! Nowadays, with the pendulum monsters, these new rules, they've gotten a lot more complicated and a lot more ignorant. Okay? People just want power, 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 speed, power. Yes, it's about playing the game, but it's about one major fact of the game. Fun. Between you and your friends. Fun. Now, I win. And then you've got the cocky players out there that diss every player they come across, claiming that they're the best and that everybody else is crap. Okay, that is just stupid, literally. It shows you have no true pride. It shows you have no respect for even anybody, including yourself. That's just lame. And those who learn a deck, wait for it to tear, and then literally toss it out the window and get a new deck that might tear. You're not true Yu-Gi-Oh! Players. You are ghetto players. No, I won't say ghetto players. That's an insult to me. You're a wannabe. You're a yobo. There you go. A Yu-Gi-Oh! Hobo. Yes, you heard it here from me. You're a Yu-Gi-Oh! Hobo if that is all you do in Yu-Gi-Oh! You are not a true Yu-Gi-Oh! Player. Now, another method, as we are still on spell cards, is learning what 10 spells. Remember, you are limited to 10 spell cards because you need room for 10 traps. A way to decipher which 10 would be the best 10 for you to use for your deck is not hard. Because you got to think of your monsters. You got to balance them out. Yes, they don't talk to you. Yes, they don't give you ideas. But looking at your monsters, seeing how you can play them, can give you the ideas you need. Sorry, I was picking up a card I dropped. Let's see. Oh yeah, cards that you need. There are different types of normal monster decks out there that you can build. There's an assault class deck. Not with synchros and assault summoning. No, assault class is basically heavy-hitting normal monsters like Luster Dragon, Gen Warped Warwolf, Alexandrite Dragon, 19s, 200, 2000 attacker hitters. You basically focus on aggressive power. A card for that deck would be Triangle Formation, Triangle Force. If you have 3 monsters of the exact same name on your field, All three monsters can attack your opponent directly, but they've got to be a normal monster. Imagine having 3 blue eyes white dragons in our field and playing this particular spell card. That is 9,000 points of damage to your opponent. It's 9,000! Oh. That would be an aggressive strategy. It would blow your opponent away. He'd be like, because you attack directly over all his monsters with 3 blue eyes white dragons. That's an aggress type or an assault type. A defense type, basically you leave your opponent unable to attack you directly. However, this strategy can be risky because you focus on straight defense. That means your spell cards would also have to be defensive, but offensive as well. Your spell cards would have to consist of stuff that deals damage directly to your opponent, or destroys their monsters, allowing some of your non-defensive monsters to attack him or his other monsters. This strategy can be more complicated because it's a defensive type. There's also the speed type. Speed type be basically coming out monsters and constantly attacking your opponent directly or using flip effects. However, flip effects would be an effect monster. A normal monster consists of 3 types: speed, defense, and power. Speed types, basically, you can use spell cards or trap cards to give your normal monsters the ability to attack your opponent directly. Doing so, you would have to play other cards to protect your monsters from being destroyed by battle. Doing this is considered a speed defensive type. Doing this properly, you can cripple your opponent in certain ways because you can throw them off their game and make them more worried about their health than their field. It is a good way to throw off certain opponents, but remember, the strategy does not work with every type. A lot of people in the past have gone with the aggressive type. They would hit you hard and they would hit you fast. They would some monsters that had overwhelming power but low attack or low defense power. And I will tell you here now, there is no such thing as an unbeatable deck. Every deck has a flaw, every deck has a weakness. It's seeing how the deck is played multiple times and seeing where its weakness lies. Anyone who claims that they have a unbeatable deck or a deck that cannot be broken and has no flaw is a liar. Including even the creator of Yu-Gi-Oh! Will tell you this. It is not true. There is no such thing as an unbeatable deck. Every deck has a flaw. An unbeatable deck is perfect. No flaws, no ways around anything they do. However, that is not possible. Everything has a weakness. Everything has a way to break defense. It's finding it. Some are harder to see than others, but if you are patient and you understand how the deck works, you will soon figure out its flaw. Hence, like in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Original Series, when there was a way around Slifer's effect when Yu-Gi first faced it in the Battle City tournament. I'm finding nothing but monsters here. Still trying to find more of my spell cards because I know the spells that I've drawn would not be the proper ones to use for this deck. My deck is actually considered a random style deck. Has no main between attack, defense, or speed. It's a random between all 3. So to do this properly, I would need to find cards that can bend for each 3 types. However, this can be quite complicated to do if you do not have the right type of spells and traps. Remember, as I said, spells and traps helps normal monsters. Without these particular spells and traps, you can cripple your entire strategy. This is probably going to be my longest video because I said I would do it in great detail. Doesn't mean I had everything set up before I did it because it is 6:35 a.m. and this video has been going on for 34 minutes and 15 seconds. Here's my main spell card combinations. Okay. Now, on my other videos you've all watched, you've seen decks that I have built. Since I use my laptop to record these, I can't, like most people do, bend it down so you can see each card on the table. It's not that easy for me, and I don't have proper gear or stuff to do it. My cell phone, I can record videos, but there's never sound, so This is my best way to do it. And just more spells. Also, since you are learning the basic style of Yu-Gi-Oh, you do not, I repeat, if you are not going in a tournament, you are not required to follow by tournament law or rules. Therefore, you can use banned or forbidden cards. If you don't understand what banned means, banned is the same as forbidden. Cards that you cannot use in tournaments only. Therefore, if you're not at a tournament, you can play any style you want. However, there are rules. This is considered freestyle. True freestyle has only a few rules. 1. You can have 3 copies of any card in your deck. You cannot have more. Your deck must be 40 cards or higher. There is no limit on how high it can go. Your extra deck is not limited to 15. I believe it was limited to 20 back in the day. Could be wrong. Could be more than that. This also means you can use 3 Rikekis, 3 Monster Reborns, because you are not required to follow tournament rules. This is considered training freestyle. Traditional freestyle has more complicated rules where you can only use 1 banned card, but you can have 3 of anything else. This is a traditional, a respectable way to play. But if you want to play full freestyle, the rules are simple. No cheating. You can only have 3 copies of a card in your deck. And there is no such thing as hand replenish or deck reshuffling. There's no such thing in these rules. These rules are made up to give the person who made them up an advantage against their opponent because they had a crappy hand. That is a low life. That is a low way to play. That just shows you're trying to cheat your way through Yu-Gi-Oh! A true Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist plays fair and square. I have never once cheated because I've never had the need to. I've lost many times. I've probably lost more than I've ever won. But I'm proud about every duel I've ever faced. You know why? I learn. You cannot learn without mistakes. It's like growing up in life. You make a mistake, it's your choice if you learn from it. People must learn from mistakes they make, whether in a video game, a card game, or in actual life. If you cannot do this, then, well, get out of the dark ages, man. See the bigger picture. I think I've got enough spell cards here. Got a nice style. I'll put the rest right here. Alright. Now, as I did say, my monsters are all randoms. I will now show you all 20 monsters. First is the one I previously showed you. Harpy Girl, 500 attack, 500 defense. X-Head Cannon, 1800 attack, 1500 defense. Summon Skull, 2500 attack, 1200 defense points. Cybertech Alligator, level 5. 2500 attack, and he has 1600 defense. Master Kanoishi, or Kanaishi, Zombie, 1500 attack, and 1500 attack and 1000 defense. Robo Yaru, he's probably the weakest monster. Nope, he's stronger than Harpy Girl. He's 900 attack, 450 defense points. Then we have one of Bakura's cards, the Headless Knight, with 1400 attack, 1450 attack, and 1700 defense. Then we have Armored Zombie. Armored Zombie is a dark zombie, level 3, 1500 attack, 0 defense. Then we have a very old card, the Seven Colored Fish. He has 1800 attack and 800 defense. Then we got Ryukushin Powered. 1600 attack, 1200 defense. Then we got Baron of the Fiend's Sword. He has 1550 attack and 800 defense points. Then we got one of my personal pride favorites is Kaiba's Battle Axe. You should know the attack and defense of this, 1700, 1000 defense. Then we've got Luster Dragon, 1900 attack, 1600 defense. Then we got Renji, Gatekeeper of the Dark World, 100 attack, 2100 defense. Then we have Giant Soldier of Stone. 13 attack, 2000 defense. Elemental Hero Clayman, 800 attack, 2000 defense. Mad Lobster. He needs a little butter before we fry him, I guess. I think he's mad because we try to fry him. 1700 attack, 1000 defense. Mad Lobster's a level 3. We got the alternate art, Elemental Hero Burstenatrix. Same attack, 1200, 800 defense. Dragon Zombie, level 3. 1600 attack, 0 defense. And then finally, Yugi Moto's card, Queen's Knight. 16 attack. Wait, no. 15 attack, 16 defense. As you can see, my deck consists of 3 types: defense, power, and speed. Speed are the normal monsters you can equip with spell cards to make them invincible through battle, invincible through spell cards, so on and so forth. Now, for the 10 spell cards needed for this type of deck, we are going to go with Mystical Space Typhoon, Monster Reborn, and one to really suck it to your opponent, Creature Swap. Now, my style is basically going to be a little different. Some cards that are required for a deck like this is stuff that will turn your own opponent's cards against them. Or equip cards to equip to your cards to make them more volatile against your opponent. Like, if you were building a level 3 base deck, all normal monsters that were level 3 and you had cards to let them attack directly, this would be a very useful card against your opponent. That was Level Limit Area B. All level 4 and higher monsters are switched to defense mode, which means they can't attack you. Here we go. Necklace of Command. When a monster on your side of the field equipped with this card is destroyed as a result of battle and sent to the graveyard, select and activate one of the following effects. Draw one card from your deck. Randomly discard one card from your opponent's hand to the graveyard. Now, if you had 2 of these on one monster when it's destroyed, you can use both effects. Like this one, draw one card. Use the other one to randomly discard one, or use both of them to discard 2 cards from your opponent's deck. I'll actually use the Necklace of Command. Yes, it doesn't increase defense power, but it can give you an upper hand against your opponent's hand, limiting the cards they can use. And if you're going to use a lot of equip cards for a low-level normal monster deck, you'll need Tailor of the Fickle. This allows you to take a selected spell card, switch an equipped spell card equipped to a monster to another correct target. Which means, and it is a quick play like MST is. So you can have it in your hand during your turn, and if, let's say, one of your monsters is destroyed by Sakuratsu Armor, you play this from your hand, you can take the equip card equipped it to the monster that's being destroyed, and select a new monster in your field to equip it to keep it on your field. This is a very good card if you're using a lot of equip cards. This card can be used in a lot of decks that use equip-based cards. However, I will not put it in this deck. We will go with Change of Heart. Remember, I did say this is true freestyle. Sorry, I got a bullfrog next to me. There you go, Banner of Courage. It's a continuous spell card. While it's face up on the field, during your battle phase only, all face-up monsters you control gain 200 attack. This can be a very lethal card to your opponent. I will actually add that to this deck. Then you have Swords of Revealing Light. Okazi. Inflict 800 points damage to your opponent's life points. Then you have a card that is mean because it's called Bait Doll. For those of you who do not know what this card does, it can be used in literally any deck possible. Force the activation of a face-down trap card. If the timing of the activation of the trap card is incorrect, negate the effect and destroy it. If it is not a trap card, it is returned to its original position after this card is activated. It is placed into the deck, not the graveyard. The deck is then shuffled. Which means if you're activating this card, if no one negates this card, you can keep putting it in your deck and redrawing the damn thing. I mean, it can really limit your opponent's trap cards, especially if they play with a trap-heavy deck. People will refer to the decks of what types they are, if they're trap-heavy, monster-heavy, which means they have more of those type of cards than spells or monsters. Trap-heavy decks have quite a few trap cards in them. These are all basics that I'm telling you on this video. I'll probably be a little bit longer with this video since I've not really finished my deck. If I don't finish it this video, I will have it finished on my next video and go up against one of my decks. And if this deck beats one of my decks, then we got issues because my decks aren't pushovers. And yet I play old school style. We'll go with another creature swap just to really annoy the opponent. Even if it is me. Like Jeff Dunham's, his puppets piss him off, and yet he will not kill them because that is a form of suicide. Crap. I'm tired, okay? It's 6:47 a.m. I've had this video going for 56 minutes and 55 seconds. I have not been asleep since yesterday. Well, actually, about 4 or 5 hours ago. Or longer than that. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. One more spell card. See if I get it from this small pile. There we go, Junk Barrage. It came out a little later, but it is qualifiable. When the equipped monster destroys a monster by battle and sent to the graveyard, inflict damage to your opponent equal to half of the destroyed monster's attack. Ooh, excuse me. It's still doing life point damage. Doesn't matter how much you do. But as long as you keep that up, you're good. Trap cards are easier to predict what to put in a deck. When you're dealing with a deck like this, it's actually extremely simple what you want to put in here. Like Mirror Force, Sakuretsu Armor, Dimensional Prison, Kunai Chain, Phoenix Chain, Bottomless Trap Hole. There's Mirror Force. Ooh, here's an old card, Magic Cylinder. Dark Bribe, Remote Revenge. And here are 2 cards. If you're going to play with the old style deck to learn the basics, I will tell you now, here are 2 cards you're going to need. Divine Wrath and Curse Seal of the Forbidden Spell. Why do I suggest these cards? Because I still use these cards to my current decks. Divine Wrath, you discard 1 card from your hand, negate the activation and effect of an effect monster and destroy that monster. So if someone activates a monster effect that's been removed from play or in the graveyard or in their hand, you can play this, negate it, which would stop their ability to gain the upper hand. Curse Seal of the Forbidden Spell, both of these are spell speed 3, by the way, because they're counter traps. Curse Seal of the Forbidden Spell is a counter trap card. Discard 1 spell card from your hand, negate the activation and the effect of a spell card and destroy it. Your opponent cannot activate spell cards of the same name, including the same spell card that is destroyed by this card effect during the rest of this duel. Which means if someone's relying on MST, Monster Reborn, Torrential Tribute, you play this card, they can no longer play it for the rest of the duel no matter what. No, there's no rule to bring that card back into play, which means it's basically useless in their hand. These two cards are a good way to really damage the opponent's deck, especially if you're playing with multiple versions of the Cursed Seal. Since you can only have three, you can stop if, let's say, they're using 3 MSTs and 3 of 2 other type spells. That's 9 spell cards they would have in their deck you can crush and eliminate from the game permanently while this duel is active. 3, 6, 9. Here we go. Here's another card. If you're going to use a full normal deck for your training session, which I advise to learn the 4 basics: normals, spells, traps, and gameplay. These are the 4 basic rules when you learn to play the game. After that, you can advance to the next level and keep doing that. Here's a card for a deck that consists of only normal monsters. Just Die Break. Why? Very simple. Activate only when your opponent declares an attack against a face-up normal monster on your side of the field. Destroy all face-up attack position monsters except normal monsters. Which means if you have 5 normal monsters in your field and they've got nothing but effect monsters on their field, you play this card, they go. This also means that face-down monsters will not be targeted by this effect because they are neither effect nor normal. Which means my deck is now complete. Here you go. This is a 40-card deck that is basic for training. A lot of people will be frustrated with it because there's no balance to the deck, there's no rhythm. However, it is still compatible with any deck you face. It is a good way for you to learn the basics no matter how bad your opponent stomps you. If you want to take it slow, learn the rules slowly, you can read the books, but the best experience is trying the game for yourself, from the basics of building your own beginner training deck and then slowly modifying it to fit your style of dueling. People can build decks for you all day long, but it won't feel like your style because it's like someone's holding your hand telling you what to do. If you truly want to learn to play the game, learn slow. Don't learn fast and skip all the way to the new monsters because that's really going to screw you over in the end. But like I said, there are 4 types of other colored monsters other than normal and effect. There is Ritual, there's Fusion, there's Synchro, and then there's the Exceeds. Ritual monsters out of these 4 types are the only ones that go into the deck. The others go into your extra deck so you can use cards to bring them out to the field. They are considered the Fusion deck, or extra deck now. This is my final message. I'll probably post the video later today. But it was good for me to do this in great detail. It probably wasn't as detailed as I was hoping, but I've said a lot. If you pay attention to my words, I've done my job. In my opinion, there are 5 ranks to be a really great duelist. I consider myself 4 because most of my friends are much better than I am. I will admit this with my pride. So this is Elite Rank 4, Health Phoenix, signing off for until whenever I post a new video.